So fallout continues to be swift as well as harsh after a federal judge in California ruled the military's 17-year-old policy known as Don't Ask, Don't Tell is unconstitutional and must be halted. Defense Secretary Robert Gates is in favor of repealing the law that bans gays and lesbians from serving openly. But on Wednesday, Gates also said an abrupt end to the policy could have, quote, enormous consequences for our troops. President Obama has said for years that he wants to repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell, but his administration plans to appeal the judge's ruling because it wants the policy done away with by an act of Congress, not by the courts. And lost in all the political wrangling are the actual human beings who are directly affected by this and affected every day. Because despite the policy being in place since 1993, gays and lesbians continue to serve secretly. MSNBC's Rachel Maddow joins us live in just a moment. But first, let's take a look at a part of an exclusive interview that she was granted with two active F-16 fighter pilots who were forced to hide their identity because of Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
You are an F-16 fighter pilot, multiple deployments, including combat missions in Iraq. You've got not only a very impressive military career behind you, you have what seems to be a very impressive military career ahead of you. Why risk even this much coming out? Why is it important for you to talk about this now?
I think that the reason why now is I've seen us come so close and with Don't Ask, Don't Tell to getting it repealed, and it's like the carrot that's there in front of you, and we can't quite reach it. And you can only sit on the sidelines for so long. It's not in my nature. I think most military members, it's not in our nature to sit on the sidelines and have someone else fight for us. So I've always wanted to get into the fight and do a little bit more with the constraints that are obviously in place right now. So that was really important to me to do what I can to put a face on the issue. And I know there's other people that have come before me and will come after me that will do the same thing. And I think the more people who do that, the harder it is to argue against it. It's easy to be against an idea or to be bigoted against an idea, but it's a lot harder to do that when you actually know a person.
How do you feel about President Obama's leadership on this issue?
Lacking, to be straightforward. It's frustrating to see so much emphasis, and it is an important issue. The healthcare issue was a very important issue, and I was glad to see that get through. And he showed leadership there and really did a lot to get a very difficult bill through. But it's frustrating to see a lack. We hear the words, but we don't see the action. And it's frustrating to not see any true action from the White House on this issue. Pressuring Congress and Senate, especially when the defense authorization bill was voted on, to not see the president come out and really throw his support behind it, and to try to pressure the Senate to act on it. So it's frustrating.
In light of this ruling yesterday, is there something that, if you could wave a magic wand, if you could make a policy decision for the White House right now, what would you want to see the president do?
Instruct his the Justice Department to not appeal the decision. Once that is done, and I hate to use the word Pandora's box because that is a negative connotation, but that's open. Regardless of what happens in 2012 with the presidential elections, if we will have gone 2 years without Don't Ask, Don't Tell, you can't put that back in the box.
Rachel Maddow, host of The Rachel Maddow Show, joins me here in studio to talk about this. Rachel, thanks so much for doing this.
Happy to do it, Thomas. Thanks.
All right, so let's talk about the hard part of these two guys coming to speak about this. There were two F-16 fighter pilots that you spoke to. That was just the clip of one of them. How hard was it for them to do this interview? And then also, in your opinion, do you think because of this ruling there'll be more people like them?
You know, what was so interesting was to have these interviews scheduled on the day that nobody really knows what the policy means.
Yeah.
We are hearing a lot from people who are advocates for gay people in the military, from gay people in the military themselves who are closeted, that people were coming out, that there was chaos. People thought the policy has been stopped. And we did these interview with these two brave, active duty, combat experienced fighter pilots, and it became very clear, and it was a sort of very shocking, stark moment when we all realized as a production team there is no chance that these guys can actually come into the light, literally that we can turn the lights on. They need to stay in shadow or they're risking their careers. The policy is not over. The policy, there's confusion about it, but it is not on hold. These guys are making a brave decision to talk about who they are because they're fed up with being closeted, but they can't come out yet without getting fired.
Yeah, the part that really broke my heart was when he talked about the fact that his partner was undergoing an operation, but his partner's heart stopped on the table and had to be paddled back to life. He didn't even know about it.
Yeah. It was in Fallujah at the time, at a very dangerous time, had no way of being notified.
All right, so the judge's decision, it means the policy is now suspended, it's in limbo, what?
Don't Ask, Don't Tell is in flux right now, and it's interesting. You heard the fighter pilot there say, what I want is for the president to not appeal the ruling, to have the Justice Department let that ruling stand. And it seems pretty clear that the Justice Department is going to appeal, but it's weird. It's at least interesting that they haven't already. Everybody really expected that they would almost instantaneously. They would definitely do that yesterday, and it hasn't happened. Everybody's sort of waiting for that other shoe to drop. Now, are they going to appeal? Almost certainly. But it's not as black and white as we sort of thought it is. Today, we've started to see commentary that it's possible that the administration could appeal, but also say, listen, we don't want this one federal court judge to make this decision for the whole country. This ought to go to the Ninth Circuit, ought to go to the appeals court. Maybe it should even go to the Supreme Court. We are appealing it so it goes to a different court, but we, the Obama administration, think it is unconstitutional. Sort of a gray area between appealing or not appealing, and there is precedent for other administrations doing that. There was actually a military policy that the Clinton administration passed Congress. Clinton administration felt it was unconstitutional. A judge struck it down, and in the Clinton administration they did that. They said, we're appealing, but we think it's unconstitutional too. We think the court should tell us that. So it's really in flux. What's clear is that it is still not safe to come out.
Right.
What is not clear is how this policy ends.
And you know, Secretary Gates has said all along that he would prefer to wait until the Pentagon report is done and they come out with their results coming up on December 1st.
That's right.
So why not just wait until then?
Well, what happens then? So the Justice Department or the Defense Department does this very comprehensive, intensive survey of what it would be like to repeal the policy. That's due in 48 days. The Justice Department has 60 days to decide whether or not to appeal. So both of those timelines are running up on each other. And the plan that the administration has had all along with the Defense Department is that they will do this study, and then once the study comes out, the Senate will vote to repeal the policy. Now, the problem with that is that the Senate might do no such thing.
Right.
Nobody can count on the Senate doing anything at this point. At this point, the Senate can't be counted on to tie its own shoes in the morning when they show up for work. And so the idea that everything hinges on the Senate repealing it is the thing that's really bothering advocates. It doesn't sound like a real plan if the plan is for John McCain to see the light.
Right.
Can this happen without the Senate repealing it? It's hard to see. The Defense Department study's coming out on December 1st. Everybody believes that will say that it is possible to safely repeal the policy.
It's been 17 years. You think they could compile some information during that time?
Also 25 nations, including almost all of our allies, allow gay people to serve openly. It's not like we'd be doing something that's never been done before.
Right. All right. What do you have coming up tonight?
Tonight, actually, we're going to be doing a little bit about this. We're going to be talking about a very interesting piece of the puzzle on the Chamber of Commerce fight. Everybody's talking about foreign funding, whether or not foreign funding is getting into the Chamber of Commerce's anti-Democrat attack ads. The issue of whether or not those foreign sources of funding for the Chamber of Commerce just want to outsource American jobs is putting a giant exclamation point on that political fight.
Okay. Lean forward with me.
Lean forward.
Thank you.
Thomas, thank you so much.
Good to see you. We'll see you tonight.
You too.